Здравствуйте, Namaskar to our weekly discussion on Indo-Russian friendship. In our last meeting, we discussed about a very illustrious person, Nikolai Konstantinovich Roerich. Being a Russian, he came to India and stayed here for a long time. We discussed about him in detail, but there are also many more things to explain, to know, and to cultivate his unique creative world. Nikolai Roerich was a person whose cultural heritage belongs to two countries, mainly Russia and India, and also that unique heritage belongs to the world. Roerich was initiated to the world of art by Leo Tolstoy, and Leo Tolstoy helped him to understand India a little more and to develop love for this country in the mind of Nikolai Roerich, which he nurtured from his very childhood, from his very young age. Love for this country was a phenomenal affair. As Leo Tolstoy helped him to understand India, love India, there was another person, and that was poet Rabindranath Tagore, who also helped him to know more about the country, India. They met each other in 1920s in England, in London, when Nikolai Roerich was there at the exhibition of his own artworks. Tagore was there also in London on his way to America. He was there with his son Rothindranath and daughter-in-law Pratima Devi. Both stalwarts met each other and fell in for each other. Tagore invited him to come to India, which was a dream for Nikolai Roerich. When in London, Tagore was there. At the same time, there was another person, Professor Suniti Kumar Chattopadhyay, and the elder son of Nikolai Roerich, Yuri Roerich or Georgy Roerich. They were at the same place. It was at the Oriental Institute, London's, where they were doing research works on different linguistic subjects. By the way, Yuri, the elder son of Nikolai Roerich, was proficient in 28 Asian languages. Naturally, they became very good friends, Suniti Kumar and Yuri. And at the urge of Yuri, Suniti Kumar arranged the meeting between the two stalwarts. Nikolai Roerich visited Tagore with his two sons, Yuri and Sviatoslav, the younger one, and Tagore attended his exhibition. He highly praised the works of Nikolai Roerich, and along with Suniti Kumar Chattopadhyay was also there, Dr. Kalidas Nag, the famous historian, and another intellectual, Kedarnath Dasgupta. They discussed in details about the works of Nikolai Roerich, and Roerich had a great feeling for Tagore because in his young age and immediately after that, when Tagore was awarded with Nobel Prize, all over Russia, Immediately, the translation of Gitanjali was available, and the intellectuals and the younger ones, they used to recite the poems openly in public in language of Nikolai Roerich. Gitanjali was a great discovery for them. When he was in London, as Tagore invited him to come to India, before that he had a dream, of course, to come to India, and he had a plan that from his exhibition, the money which will be collected after selling his works, he will be able to get the passage money. However, additionally, he worked for a Covent Garden production by Thomas Beckmans. He did the whole set works, stage works for the play, but unfortunately he was not paid in full, and Roerich had to drop the idea of visiting India in 1920s immediately after the exhibition. However, he got an invitation from the Chicago Art Gallery for organizing an exhibition in the United States. He went there and organized his unique exhibition. There he met many important people. But before going to United States, Nikolai Roerich and his wife Elena Roerich, as both of them were very much fascinated with the ancient Indian philosophy and Vedic philosophy, they formed the Agni Yoga or Living Ethics Society in England. After that, after the visit United States, they came to India, and United States also he did the design work for Rimsky-Korsakov's opera Snow Maiden. When he was in India in 1923, he had a plan to meet Rabindranath once again in Kolkata. The whole family was in Kolkata and wanted to meet Rabindranath, but unfortunately Rabindranath was not in Kolkata. However, his elder brother Gaganendranath, a famous artist and who was the founder of the School of Oriental Art, was there. Roerich met him, and also he met Tagore's nephew Saumendranath Tagore, who was a politically important person at that time. Also he met another nephew, Abanindranath Tagore, who was the leader of the Bengal School of Arts. And as we know, a diamond merchant can recognize a diamond immediately, not a fake one, which one is fake one and which one is real one. Abanindranath, who himself was an illustrator, painter, and a storyteller and writer, and we know that his stories are like paintings, he immediately found the quality of Nikolai Roerich's writings, and he said that Nikolai Roerich has a place of his own in the world of art. His pen too has carved out a niche for itself in the world of letters. He praised him in details, and he said that the brush has definitely a wider appeal, but also the pen has a distinct function, and no doubt that Roerich has its own skill to paint with his pen. And here in Kolkata, Nikolai Roerich also met another very important person, Jagadish Chandra Bose, the famous scientist, a botanist and biologist, and also a well-versed person on Indian philosophy. Nikolai Roerich with his family visited Jagadish Chandra Bose's house, his laboratory, and he was overwhelmed to find it that in the laboratory the portrait of Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Vivekananda are well placed, and with high esteem, Jagadish Bose spoke about them, their philosophy, and also being a person who knew more about the Himalayas, had a discussion with Roerich about his future project. Nikolai Roerich appealed to the British authority for his permission to get the permission to visit the Himalayan region and particularly Tibet. First, he was denied the permission to go to Tibet, but when he was there, he stayed there for 5 months, but with such an opposition from the British authority that they had to stay in the tent in the sub-zero temperature. They had 102 animals to carry their luggages. Out of them, 92 perished in Tibet, and also 5 of their own comrades who were with them in this expedition, they also passed away. Nikolai Roerich, in a detour from his travel, went to Berlin and mentioned to the ambassador of Soviet Union in Berlin about the condition in Tibet, about the people, about the living condition of them, and about a very interesting note that how the Britishers are doing anti-Soviet, anti-Russian propaganda work in general to the Tibetan people. In 1925, they came back, and again in 1926, on a detour from Siberia to Moscow, he went again. And once again, he explained about Tibet. He was allowed to leave Tibet in 1928 and was allowed to leave Tibet on foot only. And they came down towards the south. It means that time in Punjab, now in Himachal Pradesh, they found a unique place near Kulu Valley. The place is called today as Nagar, where they founded the Himalayan Center. And this expedition made him very famous because he collected many herbs and ancient manuscripts, and also he met the Buddhist lamas who gave him blessings, and many other ancient scriptures and ancient objects which he could collect. And that became a part of the Himalayan Center's property. Some of them went back to Soviet Union at that time, and some were kept over there. In 1934-35, Tagore again went to other places, mainly in Mongolia, both inner and outer, and also in China. And then in 1936, both Tagore and Roerich, they had regular correspondence from their meeting itself. And in 1929, we found a letter written in 1929, that Nikolai Roerich was addressing Tagore as my dear comrade. And he's explained there that much time have passed since our last meeting, but I have always followed your footsteps, your thoughts with close attention. My best wishes are always with you wherever you go, wherever you may choose to plant and grow your wonderful garden of cultural treasures. We find that when he wrote about Leo Tolstoy, Nikolai Roerich also mentioned about Rabindranath, about his meeting with Rabindranath. When he was in India, he was doing a lot for his own country, because at that time the world was facing a great danger of fascism. Both Roerich and Tagore, they worked together, and they separately also, against fascism. And here in India, Tagore did many paintings like Alexander Nevsky and other heroic figures, which he sent back not as a picture to Russia, but also there are some other paintings which he made in India. He sold them, and the money collected from them he sent for the Red Army. And also earlier he did the work for peace, which is famous painting titled Oriflame, which he called as the painting of uh, as the red cross of the artworks, which has a symbol of a lady holding the banner with a red disc and with three red dots on it, and that was the banner of peace that was, after all, taken by the League of Nations as the main banner, as the symbol for the protection of cultural cultural property in the world at the time of war. And here in Kulu Valley, Nikolai Roerich had his last breath in the month of December of 1947. Little earlier, he was planning, both with his family, to go back to Russia. Unfortunately, he could not because he became sick. And in December, he passed away. On December 15th, he was cremated, and they had written over there on the plaque that cremated here were the mortal remains of Maharishi Nikolai Roerich, a great Russian friend of India. Let there be peace. Tagore wrote about him that your life is one of self-denial, and I hope that you shall live for many years to come for the benefit of humankind and the cause of culture. Till this date, we feel for Nikolai Roerich. We wish that there will be an exhibition in Kolkata and all over India of Nikolai Roerich and his son's works at the different cities of India to pay a real homage to this great stalwart. With these words, we say, Das Vedanya, Punardarshanaycho, see you again at our next Friday meet. Thank you very much.